Yes, fight fans, Jay's Fight Talk here. This one is talking about the up-and-coming UFC 305 card in Perth. And to discuss the main event, I have Sam from SW Fight Club and Liam Tully, my good friend. How are you doing, boys?
All good, mate. Thanks for having me on the channel.
Mate, yeah, thanks for having me on. Appreciate it. Cannot wait for this fight.
Yeah, for me, fight of the year. Highly anticipated. I know this fight's been brewing for a while, since before Izzy lost the belt. They were talking about this fight. You know, there's the African connection and who is the real African, and there's been race baiting. There's been some back and forth for over a year. We're finally going to see the fight on Saturday, the early hours of Sunday morning in Perth at UFC 305. It's an absolutely stacked, packed card, but we're here to talk about the main event. Liam, I'll start with you. Give us your thoughts on the main event.
Mate, it's the fight of the year by far. It's the most excited I've been for a number card. I include 304, include 300, and that is by far the most excited I've been. It's a long time coming, this event. There's a lot of implications on both guys' career. Izzy loses, that's probably him on his way down. He won't get another opportunity, definitely at middleweight anytime soon. If Dricus loses, he can come again, definitely, but will he want to come again? There's just so many things to get into with this fight, and it's just one I'm very excited for. Has Izzy's year off made him a better fighter? Has he recovered from everything he had to put himself through emotionally and physically through the Pereira run and with the Strickland fight at the start of last year? Or has it actually, with his age, I don't believe it has stuff started to catch up with him? Is he going to come back? Is he going to be like half a second slower? Is he going to get back in there in front of a real live opponent and actually struggle to make his mark in the way that he was during this dominant run?
Interesting. Sam, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's like you boys have said. I'll echo the sentiment. I literally cannot wait for this one. I'm like you boys. I watch multiple fights every single weekend, both boxing and MMA, and you just know when you have a little carrot of gold at the end. And this fight here, you know, just does everything for you. You know, believe it's the first UFC championship fight between two African fighters ever happening on Saturday in Perth. You know, South Africa versus Nigeria. You know, there's going to be plenty of South Africans in Perth. I believe they're playing rugby against Australia before that too. So that just adds even more to the atmosphere. But, you know, I believe this is his 11th championship fight in a row, which is unbelievable, you know, really. And during that, he showed activity levels that no other champion outside of Alexander Volkanovski really has shown. And obviously him and Volkanovski are well connected themselves as well. Yes, it's caught up with Volk. It's arguable if it's caught up with Izzy Adesanya so far. But for me, you know, Izzy does his best work when he's right up against it. You know, yes, he gets emotionally invested sometimes. You know, yes, he looked flat as a pancake against Sean Strickland, but he's probably coming off his longest layoff since he's been in the UFC heading into this one, which for me should leave him refreshed, should leave him bang up for it. And, you know, he's backs against the wall without question on Saturday night. Dricus Du Plessis is not to be messed with. You know, his performance against Robert Whittaker, you know, the way he navigated through the Sean Strickland fight, he showed different kind of aspects to his game during that fight. So yeah, you know, cannot wait for it. I believe it's just gone as before we came on this. Now it's bang on a 50-50 fight with the bookmakers. That just shows you how good a fight this is.
Yeah, it can't not. I would be shocked if Sunday morning I was disappointed in that fight. I just cannot see it being anything other than exciting. You know, it's got a bit of everything. It's got personal issues. It's got championship. You know, there's a bit of race baiting involved. I mean, you know, it's nonsense for me. And I think it was just something to hype up the fight. I don't believe that is real. You know, but it's got massive implications. You know, as Liam said, a loss for DDP at this point is not. It doesn't affect his career massively in terms of him coming again, but there's big implications for Izzy. If Izzy loses this fight at middleweight, this could be the last time we see him at middleweight. We could only ever then maybe see him stepping up to light heavyweight, maybe to challenge Poatan. I don't think Izzy's would be up for going back to doing another title run. I think he deserves this shot. He was a long reigning champion. My only fear is how active he was over the previous 4 or 5 years. Has the inactivity? I know he's rested and recouped and recharged, but is it a fighter that benefits from momentum? And I'm not sure whether the lack of momentum is going to be, going from a standing start. Liam, what do you think about that?
I think what you've just said about that's the leveler in this fight for me, because before Izzy obviously lost to Strickland, had his break. If you said my opinion on this fight, that Izzy was going to steamroll through Dricus, it wasn't going to be a close competitive fight. I just thought Izzy would have too much edge. Dricus may have a few moments of success, but ultimately Izzy would do what he was doing at that point, and he would gain another finish by any means necessary. Now, Dricus has obviously had a few more wins. He is now the middleweight champion. Izzy's been on a rest. That is the biggest leveler. How much has the rest taken away from what we know made Izzy Adesanya the fighter he was, and how much has Dricus actually improved? Or has other things in the division just aligned at a time that's allowed Dricus to climb the mountain whilst Izzy steps aside for a while?
What's your thoughts, Sam?
Who do you think is going to win?
Who and how?
For me, it is interesting because you can't rule out Dricus Du Plessis. The guy's won all 7 of his UFC fights. He's gradually fought better competition in every fight, right up until Robert Whittaker and Sean Strickland, who are 2 of the elite fighters at 185 pounds, and no one's denying that. I can't help but look past the fact that Israel Adesanya, every time his back's been against the wall in his career, he's produced a career best performance. He stood in the pocket and let Alex Pereira feel comfortable and hit him in the second fight, and he decided to throw with Poatan and lay him out cold. After the Kelvin Gastelum fight, heading into the Robert Whittaker fight, he showed plenty of vulnerability against Gastelum. He was hurt. It was a war. He did win the fight, but ultimately he came through a lot of tough moments in that fight. I just feel that he's going to have enough left in the tank. Dricus Du Plessis is a better mixed martial artist than Israel Adesanya, and I'll explain that. Israel Adesanya is an elite striker. He's an elite striker. Dricus Du Plessis has submission threat in his career as well. You have to remember that. But I just think that we're going to see a vintage Israel Adesanya performance. I can't see past that. I thought that since the fight was announced. I believe he's going to stop Dricus Du Plessis by a TKO in round 3 or 4, and I think he's going to put on a career best performance in that too. I think he's going to make it look easy.
Love that. Liam, what's your predictions? Who and how?
Similar to what Sam said, you can't look past Dricus. You don't get to become a champion in the UFC if you don't have the skill set as a striker, as a mixed martial artist to get there. So you can't look past Dricus at all. I agree. I think Izzy, every time he's had his back against the wall, he's had to show something. It's almost as if his pride won't allow him to be backed against the wall and then not perform. Strickland fight didn't really do much for him. Did he want it? All of those reasons. He's come away. His back's going to be against the wall in this fight because a lot of people were saying the race bait issues was how he interpreted it. It wasn't anything to do with what Dricus was saying. Izzy turned it into a bigger issue. So his back is against the wall with a lot of people in this fight. But still, similar to Sam, I think it will be one of the best performances of his career, and it will be a stoppage for him somewhere between in rounds 3 or 4.
Okay. Well, I'm picking Izzy, and unlike you guys, I think it's going to go to points. I think it's going to be toe-to-toe. I think Izzy will outstrike him. I think he'll outland him, and I think he'll probably get a unanimous points decision. It's not going to be an easy night, but I just don't think. I think Dricus sits a little bit too close. I don't think he's going to give Izzy the opportunities to land sort of a overhand right. I think it's going to be a really tough fight. I think Izzy's going to have to come through the fire to win, but I believe that Izzy's hand speed will be what gets him sort of a long drawn out points victory for me. But I think we're all on the same page. I think we're all in agreement that it's Israel Adesanya's fight to lose.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's the case, but just do not write off DDP at all.
Yeah, absolutely. Izzy's fight to lose 100%.
Yeah. So we're all on the same page. We're all going for an Izzy win. Well, look, that's our thoughts on it. Thanks for coming on, guys. I really appreciate you taking the time out to give me your thoughts on this week's matchup at UFC 305. Let us know what you think below in the comments, guys. And as always, like, comment, share, and subscribe. Not just my channel. Follow Liam. Follow SW Fight Hub. We'll see you soon.
Thanks, mate.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, lad.